It's so good.
I think
I had a lot of people message me about that.
I think it's my favorite entry picture for videos.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
Well, hello, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. I'm your host, Pat Patrick, with our co-host Benjamin and Mike Lissick this evening. Thank you, everyone, for stopping in who's out in the chat already. I see there's some reason we're having an issue with Facebook. They can suck it because Facebook sucks on this anyways. Go YouTube. Sorry, we have our preferences. So that we'll have to fix that in a second here. But we have a really special guest tonight who is not only at a distillery at Pearless in Kentucky, a fantastic distillery who has allowed me to taste something here that is up for Rye Whiskey of the Year in my mind, just like that. So keep that in mind. He is also starting a coffee bean company that is aging stuff in used whiskey barrels. It is going to be awesome. It's Stave Bean. Our guest tonight is John Wadell. Thank you very much for stopping in this evening, John.
No, thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
Hold on here. Now, how did you end up getting into your job at Peerless? And I'm going to mute myself for a second and figure out what's going on with Facebook. So hold on a second.
Well, it's actually, I always tell people it's one of those situations where it was just like right place, right time. At the time, I was actually bartending. You know, I'm born and raised here in Louisville, Kentucky. So, you know, you always grow up around bourbon. So you have some knowledge of it if you're born and raised here, typically. So I was bartending, doing a little bit of, just side work with animals and things like that. And I ran into Caleb, the master distiller for Kentucky Peerless Distilling. We had a mutual friend in common, and we started hanging out, doing like cocktails and dinner a couple nights a week or once a week at a buddy's house. And he just approached me and asked me if I'd be interested in coming down there. He's like, I think you'd be a really good fit. He's like, just come down, check it out. You know, if you don't like it, no hard feelings. And I went there the first day, and I never left. Just kept coming back. And I think it was about 3 months in, they offered me full time. So, I mean, I just quit my other jobs and dove right into it.
Sweet. So tell us what exactly are you involved in? What are you doing there at Peerless now?
Yeah, so, the thing about craft distillery is you really get hands-on experience. So, I got the jump from, not just filling barrels and ricking barrels, but also, getting hands-on experience cooking. So adding the water, the grains, the yeast, the fermentation side of things. Then I got to do a little bit of distillation, learning how to, start and shut down the still and run it. But my current title there is I'm actually the single barrel curator. And I always tell people, I swear, I think I have like the best job there. I literally get to taste these barrels when they're done aging and help Caleb, our master distiller, and Nick, one of our other distillers, decide how good these barrels are. So, you're getting to pull fresh samples from these newly aged barrels. We get to sit down in a panel of us and taste through everything. And from there, we'll help select like the Easter egg barrels, as I like to call them. They're really good, hard to find ones that we're going to search for in the rick house. And those are the ones that go into the single barrel program, which, bourbon groups, restaurants, bar owners, liquor stores like that will reach out and purchase. And I get to help them pick that right barrel.
That's awesome. That sounds like the cherry pick job right there.
Yeah, it's literally amazing. I mean, imagine like getting up in the morning, having a fresh cup of coffee, thinking about how you get to go into work and taste like 15 or 20 different barrels that day. It's literally like figuring out how fast can I get to work. Like they're at like 6 a.m. like unlocking the door. Ready to take.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Have you come across one where you're like, we can't sell this to other people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you literally taste one and you're like, how long can I hold this in the rick? and just pretend like we need to sample this every so often,
Yeah.
But no, it's hard. But I love putting those in selections to see what other people think. Because me, Caleb, and Nick all have very different palates. So we like different things in our whiskeys and bourbons and things like that. So it's always nice to see when we curate a selection and I'm looking for 3 different samples. I like to get their feedback as well and see which ones they like and see which ones get picked during the selection.
So what are characteristics you're looking for in a barrel selection for you specifically when you're like, okay, I like this one. What is distinct or what sets that off for you?
Well, for me, I'm a big rye whiskey fan. Like, don't get me wrong, I love bourbon, but I'm definitely a rye whiskey drinker, and I love those just super off-profile ryes. I believe y'all even had a sip of one, the smoked sassafras, right? I mean, just tell me, as a whiskey drinker, when you took a sip of that, what was your thoughts? I mean, it was filled with it reminded me of those old root beer barrel candies that you would get with a little bit of what you say, Mike, earlier, a little bit of like dry rub when you open up the bag.
It reminded me of that the sensory you get when you come across the dry rub, where it's just like, oh, it's just this kind of dry. It not only dries you out because it's acclimating to all that powder and everything that you're hitting the system. And you're like, oh, now I'm picking all this stuff out.
It's
right.
And as a rye whiskey drinker, myself, you taste those barrels, and those are the ones like we cannot put this in a bag. Like these are the ones that we want other people to taste, and be able to select and really kind of show off the kind of flavors we're pulling out of these barrels and in our rick houses.
It's insane how much this does taste. The sassafras comes through on this, and it has a smokiness and like a little bit of saltiness to it. So I almost gave it like a little bit of a seaweed taste for a second there, or like a little bit of a briny taste. But it has so much of like the root beer flavors to it. Yes.
Yeah.
So that one, I want to know how you did this. What's the mash bill? What type of stills do you use? These are all questions that are going to happen now because this is anyone can still find this. It's fantastic.
We don't release our mash bill. You'll have to pressure Corky on that question, or maybe Caleb. I don't know. But they don't even tell me. I have to look it up myself and sneak around and try to find what the mash bill is. But the big thing is, when dealing with these barrels, that one was handpicked by Caleb. So they all go into the same live barrels. It's just that when Caleb's going in the box, he's going to look for something that's really unique, different. Because those are the ones that he wants to put up in the gift shop. I wouldn't say fight over barrels. I'm like, hey man, do you really have to select that one? But he's got such a great palate, and he's so knowledgeable, and so you can't really say anything because he does an excellent job, and he's great at what he does.
Yeah, yep. Like I said, everyone, this just went up the board for rye whiskey of the year.
Yeah,
and this might be one of the most dangerous whiskeys I've had in a while because I could just drink this like it was like. It was just candy. This is ridiculous. What's the proof on this?
It's got a little bit of savoriness to it.
It does. I'm getting a lot of spice out of this too. I mean, everything from touches of coriander to chili powder to there's just so many really neat notes that are coming forth in this. The more you dig into it, it's just got a lot of. There's a lot of great ryes, but this one for me has a lot of depth to it and just a lot of nuance that's really amazing. And let alone you start with that sassafras note, which is one of my favorite notes to find in a whiskey, and boom.
I love that it's coming out my nose.
And it's a 5-year-old coming up.
Yeah.
So has there been a barrel selection though that has one that you wanted but got away? It's like like the barrel that got away that you really wanted to release for yours, but somebody else snagged.
Not really. I think we're always happy to see the barrels go no matter what. But it is really neat. The ones that you do really love, you like to see them go to those counts. And I'm pretty honest and blunt with them. Like, hey, whatever I have to do to buy a bottle of that, I will purchase a bottle. So let me know when it gets to your store, so I can purchase one from it. So I do have a couple that I always track down and make sure I get at least a bottle from. But I'm always paying for it though. But no, it's always exciting to see those ones go in the selections, because you feel a little good about your palate and yourself, knowing that if you liked it, other people like it. So it's very humbling in a way, I guess you could say too. You feel like you're doing your job right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will just personal experience. I mean, the time I got to spend with you there at Peerless here I guess it's been about a month ago, all the bottles that we sampled through. I mean, it was hugely eye-opening for me, just from the quality from bottle to bottle, barrel to barrel, because all those were single barrel picks, I believe. And every single one was so unique and so different, but they were so outstanding. And what we talked about before we went live, though, for me, and every single one of those, the taste of your grain and your mash is still present. It's still forward in that. It's not hidden by the barrel notes. It's not, disguised in any way. It's got that wonderful craft note that we've come to love on the show, where you taste that grain, you taste that mash, it's still there, and it's just got a wonderful taste to it. And you guys have a little bit, a lot of people talk about sour mashing. You guys are doing a sweet mash there. Break down the difference in that for us, people that are watching that may not understand what that is.
Caleb and Corkin decided to go a different route. They wanted to make the absolute best product possible. So we went the different route. We chose to do a strictly sweet mash compared to sour mashing. So, sour mashing is the most common way, most places are doing it.
Right.
After your distillation, you'll have all these leftover water and grains. And what they'll do is they'll basically take, a little bit leftover portion of that, and they'll throw it back in their cooker, and they use that like a starter, kind of like sourdough bread almost. Right. Whereas being a strictly sweet mash, we don't reuse any of the leftover. So we're starting with fresh grains, fresh water, first generation yeast every time. That's going to allow us to produce a little bit more of a sweeter beer too. It's going to be a little more on the sweeter floral side, a little bit more citrus and fruit and floral. And it's just going to make a better quality product in the long run. So that allows our distiller, Caleb, he was able to come off the still at a much lower proof, typically around like 130, 131, but still holding on to all the good grain quality and flavor. I don't know, Ben, if you got to taste that last time you were down there, if you got to taste any of the new make, or if y'all have. But it's just
I didn't get to taste the new make.
Popcorn buttery note. Okay. We'll have to change it. You have to come back down when you come back in. We'll make that happen.
We'll do. Okay. We'll do. I did get to taste the mash.
You do spend a lot more in the process, but the main difference in a sweet versus sour mash also is that, after each fermentation and cook, we have to deep clean everything. So we literally have to spray everything down, get all the water and grains out of there, and then we use medical grade stainless steel piping so we can basically apply steam throughout all of our lines and into our fermenters. And we'll heat it up to about 220 degrees. Hold it for about 30 minutes, just because we're trying to kill any leftover yeast, bacteria, or anything that could possibly be in there. So it takes a little bit longer in between our cooks and things like that. So we don't run 24 hours either. We do 2 cooks and 2 distillations a day, so we're only making 10 to 12 barrels a day. So we have a lot smaller lot to pick from when we're looking for single barrels, and trying to make, Caleb's trying to put together another batch and things like that too.
But still, 10 to 12 is pretty decent. It's exciting, especially if what you're getting out of it is like this, and it's only 5 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, now
10 to 12 is pretty good, but when you think on go ahead.
No, I'm fine. I can still pour a whiskey. I want to listen to what you're going to say. Between a 10 to 12. I was just saying,
10 to 12 is pretty good, but you got to think on a larger scale. The bigger distilleries, they pump out 2,000, 3,000 plus in a day. That's more than we do in a year.
Right.
So it's just really exciting, as you said, to see that we're finding barrels like this throughout our rick houses. Because we only use the 1-story rick house. We don't do multi-level. So we go about 5 or 6 high in our rick houses, and we don't temperature control them. Just because we're concentrating on the airflow rather necessarily than the huge temperature change, because we still get about 10 degrees temperature-wise difference from top to bottom in those ricks. So, when you're working up there pulling samples and you come down, it's almost like coming in air conditioning, believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy, but I promise you, I will let you experience that. So, it's just nice to see some of these unique profiles that we're getting just in a single story brick house. Plus, we use Kelvin cooperage. They're great. They're originally from Scotland. They're based right in Louisville, though. They're about 20 minutes down the road from us. And their process is so unique because they don't use gas or infrared to char their barrels. They use all that leftover oak from the barrel making process, and they make these fire pits from it. So it's all natural heat they're putting inside of their barrels. And we do a medium toast with the level 3 char inside of there, inside of each and every barrel that we do.
Yeah, I love you guys are doing that toast there before the char as well. I think that really does make a difference on a lot of the barrel and the aging, the flavors that you're pulling from there. But you brought up about your warehouse and just where the distillery is at. We talked a little bit when we were there years ago. You guys were a tobacco warehouse. And so I think that's we talked about with the open vat style of fermentation you're doing. Yeah. I would say that open vat style of fermenting you guys are doing, some of the ambient yeast that's in the air, I think that's impacting, because as we were going through it, we were talking about just this consistent note of smoke and tobacco and some of these interesting floral notes that we're pulling from it. It just seems like you wonder if some of that ambient yeast from the tobacco factory that was there is playing a role in flavoring some of the mash a little bit.
Oh, I mean, I like to think me being kind of like a history nerd, I guess, or like, kind of like looking into that kind of stuff. And then, so I think, yes, that could probably play a part. Plus, it was a Walker Bagger company. So they were bagging up different types of grains and feed in there too for, I think, for about 20 to 30 years as well. And then it was the Shape Manufacturing Company. So you only had 3 manufacturing companies inside there before us. So you always wondered, did anything play a role with that? Like you said, with the tobacco, the grains and feed and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I switched over to the Bourbon Cowboy.
Bourbon Cowboy, yeah.
I did. I switched over to that one.
Yeah.
And that does have a really nice light tobacco note underneath some cherry in here. Oh,
I'm gonna pour that one up now.
Mm-hmm.
That one out of the ones we tasted, that's the one I had to walk away with a bottle.
Huh? Oh, hold on, Ben. Give me a second. Let me make you big.
Yeah, the side label is the cowboy riding about Peerless bottle, so you gotta love that.
See, get around to it.
Very nice.
But
Yeah,
out of all those,
it's funny when we actually taste these barrels, we like to name them.
I think that's. I almost think is that kind of one of the more exciting parts is being able to name barrels, because it's almost like I assume it's kind of like an in-house tater sticker, a little bit on bottles. It's like it's like putting a mark on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but believe it or not, it's a little harder than what people think. So, you taste these barrels and you get so excited, you're writing down tasting notes, but then you got to put it together somehow for somebody to really be able to relate to, when they're tasting this. So we actually have another person, Peyton Beal, down there at Kentucky Peerless that, Caleb likes to bring her in and she tastes with us, and she helps name some of these too down at the distillery. She's got a great palate. She's good too at naming these.
Have you guys come up with a name before where someone else is like, you can't call it that, man?
Oh yeah. That's also why we have what we like to call an advisor down there, and Peyton and some of the other people will be like, absolutely not, no, and we've had to change some names around.
Is there any of them that you can mention? Any names you couldn't use?
I don't think the one that we were gonna go with was bad. It's just it's what we were thinking, like barbecue, like sweet barbecue. So we wanted to call it like sweet meat. But I guess like that, they went against that one.
Right.
But like you said, we were just thinking like Texas style or whatever. I don't know what style barbecue that is, but that was like what we were thinking. And that they were like, I don't think we can put that on there.
We do have a question from the chat. I don't want to get too far away from it. Kevin was wondering, how did you develop your palate as a bartender before, or did it happen mostly while you were at Peerless?
I would say maybe probably a little bit from bartending and just being a big foodie in general. You know, everyone thinks it's always about, you know, tasting a bunch of liquor or like, you know, always have to taste a bunch of different bourbon and whiskeys. But, you know, it's outside of that when you're trying to like really kind of help and develop the palate. It's about trying new things. Maybe is like trying different fruits or citruses or jams or jellies and things like that. And any courses that you can take that may help, whether it's just your sense of smell, is always good. And I always tell people one of the biggest things for me when trying to develop my palate too is do a group setting. You don't have to always be by yourself and try to sit at home and know stuff, because half of the time when you're thinking and you're smelling and trying to nose your whiskey, you know what it is, but you need a little bit of a nudge. So I would say like this is like vanilla, and you're like, no, it's more of butterscotch, and then you're like, yes, that's what I mean, like a butterscotch candy with the. And it's just like kind of go hand in hand, and it really helps you pick on certain nuances that you may get close to, but just can't get it out. So I always like to think that's why we do everything in a group setting there. We never taste by ourselves. There's always 3 of us or 4 of us that sit out there and taste together.
You never taste by yourself. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, not for Peerless, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Right.
What I like to do when I taste by myself is build my own flight. Like, you know, like I want to taste like certain, maybe it's brands or Peerless or whatnot against each other, really. But when it comes to, we've all been there where it's like, I'm developing my palate, and you're like 5, 6 whiskeys in, and you're like, yes, this is research. I mean, I guess, we taste at home.
Or we're 13 or 14 in at 9:30 in the morning. But
Let's just carry over.
But that's
I was gonna say, talking about your palate, Kevin, that brought up a great question there. Have you noticed your palate has changed, or you've developed different preferences the longer you've been with Peerless?
I definitely say I developed a certain preference, and I hate to sound like one of those people, but like I love barrel strength. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't enjoy like lower proofs, but there's nothing like a barrel strength whiskey. I mean, you're getting the full flavor right from that barrel as it sat there and aged for 5, however many years. And I think that's just one of the best ways you could possibly enjoy it. But I do like, with that being said, I will add drops of water to it, ice. I love making cocktails. I will mix any spirit. I don't care. But yeah, I definitely say my palate has changed, just because I also find myself enjoying certain foods that I've never tried before until I was trying to broaden my palate and things like that.
Right.
Wow. The cowboy just has a really nice level of spices. It's complex, but it only gets to be like mid-level, and it hangs around forever. Like the finish on this, like across my whole palate. Well, the whole last dance you were talking, I didn't even have a drink, and it was just hanging around the whole time. This is. I'm gonna be honest. I'm jealous.
I'm about to go with the grapefruit spritz.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
that was a good one too.
I don't know if y'all have that one yet.
So Ben, when you were there, what was your favorite of the ones that you tried of the apparently 13?
13, 14, I don't know. I lost count. Anyway, well, my favorite is the one I walked away with a bottle of, the Bourbon Cowboy.
Okay.
That Smoky Sassafras was second, and I'm trying to remember. There was one that was kind of like a close third, and darn it, that one escapes me at the moment. I'm gonna have to think about it, but quite honestly, they were.
It's so hard. I think
they
I
were
put
all
like
freaking
10 different
amazing.
ones in front of you.
And you kept pulling them out, so it was it was a fantastic tasting experience. That's for sure.
I just wish y'all would have told me what we were doing, what was going on afterwards, because I was not ready for that, and I feel like I could have had a much better time if I knew what we were getting into. So that was a good time.
That was a great time. Yeah, but that's okay. It was good. It was a good prep. But no, the other thing too about the way you guys name these, and that's what I noticed in the tasting was all the names are like spot on. I mean, a lot of times you see where distillers or whatever, they'll put a certain thing on the label or they'll roll off some tasting notes and you're sipping it and you're going, I don't get any of that. But the accuracy with which I feel like you guys have named all of these, I mean, they're absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I like to think we get pretty close to them, and like I said, that just comes from once again doing it in a group setting, narrowing it down, and bringing in what I call the ringer, Peyton, to fire off some names because, like I said, she's really good at naming some of these barrels.
So I've got a question, not taking anything away from Peerless necessarily, but speaking of barrels, so your other project that you've gotten into, what did doing the single barrels for Peerless spark that, or did it just kind of happen?
It did, that and a combination of COVID and just having a lot of extra time on your hands, and I also think it goes a lot to surrounding yourself with the right people. When you see other people around you that have created something or done something from scratch or are just doing great things around you, it really inspires you. Like, all right, I can do this too. Like, put your mind together. Like, what do you love? What do you enjoy doing? And I remember just trying to think to myself, like tasting I get to taste hundreds of barrels a year. And trying to see some of these barrels, like after we dump them or not, they just go back to the cooperage and, go on to better things, age different whiskeys. But I was trying to figure out how a way to capture some of those aromas and maybe flavors that we were getting out of the barrels. And I loved coffee. And I heard a little bit about barrel-aged coffee because I know a couple brands out there are doing it. And I remember just buying like the first bit of coffee experiment. And I was like, I'm going to grab this barrel after we dump it. I'm going to throw some coffee beans in it. And I'm going to age it and roast it and see what happens. And I started out so small. And I remember when I was doing it, I was kind of like slowly getting it together. I was trying to get some people interested. Like, hey, I want to do some barrel-aged coffee. And I feel like some people were like, yeah, good luck. Like, okay, go do it. Because like I said, it was the middle of COVID. I was talking about starting a business, right? Like, I'm like, hey, I'm going to start a business. And everyone's like, are you crazy right now? And I ran into Cory Welch, who is my business partner. And it was like, honestly, the best thing ever. Because I literally told him about it, and he did everything besides, like, sign paper. I remember him being like, I'll give you cash right now to buy in. Like, I'm like, let's do this. He's like, let's do barrel-aged coffee. And I was like, hold on. It's like, let's talk about it first. And we got right into it. I mean, literally the next day we were on a phone call talking about, all right, what do we want to do? And he kind of heard my idea, and we ran with it. And I wouldn't be where I'm at now without him, along with Corky Taylor. He's been a big supporter of me from the get-go, and helping me out and giving me whatever I need to make this happen. And that's one of the people that I was talking about, like, when you're around someone, you see like what they have done and built. It just inspires you to, create something, see what you can do. But I'll always be with Peerless. I love Peerless. That's what, makes my our coffee business so interesting, is because I have a chance to hand select these barrels, and really kind of hand pick the ones I want to use to put these beans in. We didn't cheap out on beans. We use, like, we got Costa Rican, Honduran, El Salvadorian, Colombia, Supremo, and a couple other ones. So I don't want to really talk about those. I'll wait till we get ready to come out with them, because we got some cool stuff going on, and Cory really helped with the bag design and things like that. He really knew kind of like what I wanted. I'm not always so good at like speaking about it. But I mean, he was spot on and on top of things. Like, well, this is what we're going to do. This is how, we want to present this, that, and this. And We kind of went through, hand selected the beans we're going to use, got the barrels ready, and we used a lot of exotic barrels, as I like to say, like ones that you haven't really seen or heard of, because we want to be different, and we really want to kind of experiment and see what we could do. And it's just so exciting, like diving into this. And we actually age our coffee beans in rick houses. So, we put the beans in there, and we actually put them up with other whiskey and bourbon barrels just to see, like, kind of like what happens, or to help them kind of get a little bit more of that bourbon barrel flavor to them.
Were you into
it's
coffee?
It's been great. We're just probably, I would say about yeah, I was. I love coffee. I'm one of those people that literally, it's how I start my day. Like, I do not walk out my door with at least having like a cup or two of coffee of some sort. And I remember, like, at first, like, trying barrel-aged coffee, and like, this is really good. And I can't believe it just took me so long to put two and two together. Like, why am I not, like, experimenting or doing something? Plus, we partner with a local roastery too, and they do amazing coffee, and they've been great in helping us along the way, and kind of getting everything set up for us too, helping us understand how to cup coffee, roast, when do things like that as well.
So I'm gonna say it had to be interesting to have like another almost mentor in another section as far as like the whole coffee, because it's only like knowing all the whiskey and being an aficionado with coffee. I know Ben is too. It must have been neat to kind of go behind the scenes with one or two people to kind of get that extra knowledge you needed to kind of put things together. I think that's always the exciting part.
No, absolutely, and I always try to take everything in as it happens too, because as I say, if you would have told me 2 years ago, like, hey, you're going to be at a coffee roastery cupping coffee, picking out coffee beans, and trying, I'm gonna be like, you're crazy, like, I would never be able to do that. And I always try to never take anything for granted, really try to slow down and enjoy it. So it's been good, like, learning how to cup coffee, learning roast profiles, and the difference between a blade grinder and a coarse grinder. You should actually be weighing out your coffee beans to certain grams and water and temperatures. Like, I literally remember, like, throwing away my Keurig, my coffee pot, like, I'll never do it this way again. And now having like a pour over French press and all this other stuff. And but it's just like whiskey and bourbon. You got to respect it, understand it, and things like that.
Emily's taking a little shot. That's okay.
A cup or two, so lightweight.
Yeah.
And before we go further, I don't want to Kevin jumping in with the good questions before we get there, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Are there any other barrel-aged coffee companies out there, and what sets Stave and Bean apart?
There are plenty of other people doing barrel-aged coffees. I would say a couple of things that set Stave and Bean apart is if you look at other barrel-aged coffee companies, and I might talk about them, they all make great stuff. They're all going to be different in their own way. But, I'd like to think that myself and even
Come on back.
Cory, we're a part of the industry. Taking low-quality beans and putting them in barrels. Like, I'm hand-selecting barrels. I'm using barrels that I find unique and interesting and different. Quality control check throughout everything. So I'm very hands-on with it. We get to oversee the whole process, basically. And we're not just doing bourbon and rye and rum barrels. Like, we have a whole line of unique and exotic barrels that we're going to have come out with, different blends and things like that. And our barrels, when we put the beans in them, they don't just sit in a coffee shop or somewhere and age. Like I said, we get to put them up in actually like Kentucky rickhouses and age these coffee beans with actually like bourbon and whiskey. And if bourbon groups, after they pick a barrel, think about a lot of people that drink bourbon and whiskey, more likely they probably drink coffee as well. So, we give them the option to, give me your barrel. I'll age some coffee beans in it. We'll roast it to however you like, and we'll produce you some good coffee too. So we just want to be able to do different things and just make as great as product as we possibly can.
So tell me about the aging process of coffee, of the beans in the barrel. What's happening to the beans while they're in the barrel? And is there like a set time that you're aging these, or how are you judging when they're ready to come out?
Is it kind of like whiskey where it's like you have to try it every now and then?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So, during the trial and error process, we were sticking them in there. We did a couple runs where we left them in there for, a certain amount of days, and maybe it was too long because they absorbed just too much and got kind of a funky note, a little bit too much of a funky note to them. So then we have to scale back the amount of days that we keep them in there. And at the same time, you got to think, how much are you putting into your barrel? The more you put in there, the less surface area you have for it to kind of help like absorb, because, I roll the barrels, we move them around. I'm able to take them down, roll them around, make sure that they're kind of getting that nice circulation throughout the barrel too as well. So we're very hands-on throughout the process. So there's all different types of things you have to take into consideration while you're doing it. And there is a certain amount of time that we do keep them in there for. We'll pull samples out throughout the aging process, just to try and make sure that they're picking up, flavors. So we before we did this, we tried the beans before they went into the barrel and after they went into the barrel, just to make sure that there was, something there, not just, smoke and mirrors. Like, oh yeah, we put it in the barrel, it's different now. So there's a difference. We can capture and do different things. So we'll have a couple of different lineups where we'll have some that's going to be in the barrel older, that we do to a different roast compared to ones that have been there lesser time. Because we want to make sure if you roast it too much, you're going to lose some of that flavor and aromas you're trying to capture. So there is a whole science behind it. And the guys at Quills have been very great at helping us capture everything we're after.
Have you thought about working on something more upstream, like with Kelvin, with like maybe even doing a barrel, introducing coffee into the barrel before bourbon ever gets into it, like roasting it that way? Or
Now you're getting
I'm not sure. I haven't really reached out to Kelvin, but I would love to reach out to them and actually see if we couldn't put something together and try some unique stuff. Just because they are great, we have a great relationship with them. But it's not a bad idea. There is a couple other places I have talked to about some of the barrels that they're doing that I would like to try to see what coffee would be like in their barrels. So we are trying to reach out to different places and just kind of see what's out there. But we'll have a whole, like I said, we'll have about 12 different things when we come out that we'll launch with. Different varieties of beans and barrels and things like that you'll be able to try, a couple different blends. But it should be really exciting. We're really excited to see what people think.
Do you have a personal favorite so far?
I do. I really love one, but I don't know if. So I'm just talking with Cory. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is yet, because he's like, be careful which ones you talk about. We're releasing. So like I know I'm like, good thing he's on the oil rig right now out in the middle of the water though. I'm not sure. He's working though, but he may be able to send me a text and kill me if I talk about it. Yeah, one of my favorites is we have a very unique barrel that we did, and we have a blend that is amazing. Just some of the concepts that we came up with and stuff like that. But I'm sure he wouldn't care, but I just don't want that to fall on me.
We understand that. You don't want to get Cory upset at you.
But I will tell you this. Our rye barrel that we did in the Peerless barrel is fantastic. I was able to secure a rye barrel. I wanted to do it's actually a double oak rye that we did with the Adventures Club. They picked that barrel. They're from Chicago. But they let me use their barrel to put the beans in. So I put the beans in there, and all the research, everyone's like, oh, you got to be so careful with rye. Like it's too strong for the beans. And it turned out fantastic due to, the roast profile and the amount of time and just watching it. And how fresh you get these barrels is key too. So, I mean, so many things take into factor. And I was really excited about the rye because I'm a rye whiskey drinker, and it turned out amazing. Some of the test runs that we did with the barrel.
Now, Cory did give me the okay to show a couple pictures, and I don't. So we can.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I wanted to see which ones you showed first, because if it's one of my favorites, like that's it, that's the one.
I was gonna say I have 5. I was gonna say we'll start with the Colombian. What's involved in this one?
So that's the Peerless. That's the decaf. So that is going to be a barrel aged decaf for all those people out there that aren't necessarily they love coffee, right? But they can't have caffeine.
What the hell is that?
So we actually did a Peerless bourbon barrel aged Colombian decaf.
Freaks.
But once again, it's a Colombian. we didn't cheap out on beans, so it's a Colombian. It's a primo bean that we actually put in there, which is it's some of the highest quality beans you could actually get from Colombia. We didn't just use like some cheap beans to put in any of these. And the decaf, we used strictly swish wash on that too. So no chemicals or anything. It's an all natural process to decaf it. So that was huge with this as well.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And that was actually the most expensive. Like those decaf beans are not cheap.
Let's see here. The one there's 2 here I'm excited about. So I'm just jumping to this one. The Sidecar. That one.
The Sidecar. So this is one of our blends. Yeah, this one's my favorite blend actually. So what we're doing is we're taking, we age some of these barrels or some of these beans in different barrels. So we age one in a bourbon barrel and we put one in an orange curacao barrel. And we did a special blend together. And, think about 2 ingredients, right? What's in a Sidecar? Bourbon and orange curacao. So we did what we called a Sidecar blend for here. So super, super cool. We call it's part of our cocktail series or our cocktail blend series that we're doing. So we have like a couple other ones. So it's just a neat little thing that we came up with. And actually, we can't take credit for it. The person who actually came up with this idea and love her to death is Jessica Ann, also known as the Bourbon Insider on Instagram. She literally, when we were like telling her about the idea and like talking about her, because she's a good friend of ours, she was like, "Why aren't y'all doing blends of cocktails?" And she was like, "You're doing orange curacao and bourbon, like call it a bourbon Sidecar." And we're like, "Oh my God, you're a genius." So then we started messing around, like doing the different blends, finding out like what works. And we were like, hats off to Jessica if you're out there listening, if you watch this. Like, thank you so much. You're a big part of where we're at right now. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like you got to enjoy the journey and the ride, and the people around you that inspire you and help you along the way.
No, but that was the one where you said
that doesn't mean she gets.
What?
Yeah, it's so good. That orange curacao turned out fantastic. And like I said, we're definitely experimenting with a lot of other neat stuff out there too. So
I got a couple more.
It's exciting.
Like one of the other ones is a Mai Tai. I mean,
Mai Tai blend, yes. That's involved our raw beans that we got actually. The raw beans are from Honduras, and then we actually put them in. We have a rum barrel too that we did, also using Honduras beans. So we did a blend of those, and we're going to create what we like to call a Mai Tai blend. And we're going to do some other ones, but that one's really good too. I love rum, so if you ever being able to smell some of these freshly dumped barrels, you're just like, oh my gosh! Like when you're dumping coffee beans into them, like it's the anxiety I have, like at night, like thinking in bed, laying about them, like I wonder what those coffee beans are doing in that barrel right now, and like 3 more days before I can pull the samples. 3 more days before you can pull the samples. And it's just a lot of fun. And Cory's in New Orleans, right? So he's calling me every day. what's that barrel smell like? If you pop the bung off of it, go. Can you walk back there and smell the barrel right now? It's just, we're excited. We're excited to see what people think, and we definitely didn't skimp on quality when it came to this. So we're definitely spending the money on quality beans, doing the research, and making sure we're using the best people along the way to help us.
Sorry, just when will you take your money? When can people get some of this stuff? We jumped like discussing two things to take my money. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, well, we got our website so we're working on our website, getting up and running right now. We have a great company taking care of that. A friend of mine, Haley Rout, Haley Hoback. Sorry, Haley Rout. Haley Hoback. She owns a company called, it's like Moxie May Company, where she helps small businesses kind of get off the ground and take off. And she reached out and was like, hey, I want to help you on this. She's like, please, let me do your website and stuff. And she's been great to her. So shout out to Haley. I'm sorry, it's Haley Kruth. I forgot. She got married. Don't kill Haley. She got married. I walked her dog down the aisle. That's how good a friend we are. If that tells you anything. And then I got asked to walk another dog down the aisle of a wedding. So I don't know if I'm just like the official dog walker down the aisle. But,
I was gonna say, that might just become a thing now. You better walk.
I love animals. So there's I always tell people, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, right? I'm always walking the dogs down the aisle.
I'm like, at least you're involved. You're part of the wedding party then, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I get all the benefits of it, right? Just hang out with the dog and walking down the aisle. But no, so yeah, we'll hopefully have our website up and running in about, we're hoping fully launched by the end of August. I know that's a little ways out, but we just want to make sure we do it right. We have everything, but we'll do like a pre-sale, but it should be for that. But I always like to just push it back to the latest possible, because the funniest thing, Corky Taylor, the owner of Kentucky Peerless, great, just been a great mentor and helping out along the way. He always said, when you start with this, whatever your set date is, push it back 3 months, push it back 4 months. He's like, you're never going to start on that date that you want to start at. And that has been so true from the get-go. Because I was, in my mind, we'd be up running 2 months ago. But, there's all these little details that you just need to take care of, that you never think about. And that has been the biggest thing that has stuck with me. Everyone's like, well, when you launch? And I'm like, next month. And then a month comes by. I'm like, when you launch? I'm like, next month. I promise, next month. So, hopefully we'll get out there here by the end of August. We want to be fully launched.
Yeah, I think that's some of the best advice I've heard in the industry is just, push it back and be patient. And if you're ready beforehand, yay, but be patient for what's good. And that is, maybe that's not being preached enough, to be honest. But I'm excited about them. Now, I know we have 2 more here, and I want to get to them before. Damn. Mike's ready chomping at the bit for some stuff too. You have a Manhattan, and this is right up Mike's alley. That's why he's excited already.
That's right.
I know this is one of Mike's drinks. He makes pictures of them at a time.
Yeah. Have you ever, Manhattans are good. I do love Manhattan. So we took an Amaro blend and a rye blend. So we aged some coffee beans in Amaro barrels and aged them once again some rye. We did a blend together and called it the Manhattan. So that one's super good. It's some of the tasty notes that you get off of these beans after you put them in the barrel and do all these will be at a medium roast. We'll have one coffee that's offered at a dark roast, but that's our extra age where we went for a pretty long time inside the barrel with the coffee beans and did a pretty nice little roast, but it turned out amazing. But this one's really good. This one I'm really excited about too as well. Cory really likes Manhattan, so this was kind of one that he was really excited too about.
All right, the last one up here in the corner is the Boulder. This This one sounds exciting as well too. What obviously named after the cocktail, but I was gonna. Interesting lineup that you guys chose. How did you guys end up picking the ones the drinks that you came up with? Did Jessica help with all of them, or was it just that one? Jesus froze. Shoot.
Well, she kind of got the ball rolling when she first had that idea of like blending different barrels together to create something. What's that? Oh, sorry. When she had the idea of blending that first barrel, that really kind of like set the tone for like what we could do from there. We're like, all right, well, she gave us the idea and we kind of like ran with it. We were like, all right, what other blends can we do? And she knew from the get go, and that's why it's like it's always good to have those people because she came in from like a totally like blind perspective and was like, why aren't you doing this? And it's just like one of those things, like like when you have like that dumb look on your face looking at somebody, it's like you're a genius. Like it was really funny. But yeah, she was kind of the inspiration behind all that, though.
I can't wait to get my hands on all of these, honestly, and everything else you guys are going to be coming out. So, big coffee freak and barrel aged beans, they're the bomb. So,
are you guys going to do packages with like a I don't know a set of 10 small samples of each one, or any kind of packs together so people can try multiples?
So what we'll have is we'll have multiple bag discounts. Everything will come in 12-ounce bags, so just a little bit less than a pound. But we will have different shipping options and different discounts they can actually get depending on the bag purchase. You should be everything will be featured on our website when it's up and going. But you can also stop in, at the distillery down at Kentucky Peerless. If you ever come down in and try some of our delicious single barrels and small batch, and I'll have some coffee down there too as well.
All right.
Do you guys have besides your website, are there any other retail spots or places that lined up where people can get your beans at? Obviously at Peerless, but anywhere else?
Yeah, we're working on a couple different places. Yeah. We're working on a couple different places. I'll do an update that. If you follow us on Instagram at Stave Bean, or on Facebook as well, we'll kind of keep you updated. We just started our social media, so keep in mind we are a little bit of a smaller company, but we're planning on launching very big. So we're running our social media, trying to get help. So we just started it literally about 2 days ago. So bear with us as we kind of upload info and kind of show you what we're doing as we kind of go along. But feel free to reach out to us on there, or feel free to email me at john@staveandbean.com or Cory@staveandbean.com. Email him too as well. Let him get some
That's
emails.
right. Let him take some of those emails. As a matter of fact, Lena Cory.
Yeah.
And if you refer to him as a swamp squirrel, you'll get an extra 10% off your order.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to come to the tour tasting at Peerless, you can contact me. But if you want to talk about money to Cory, email. Cory's the business side of things. Like, he is so smart when it comes to that stuff. I've learned so much just from bringing him and our. We have a CPA, Dustin, that's amazing. He's been handling taxes. Like, it blows your mind. Like, when you really dig into the business side of things. Where I'm more like production. Like, I want to roll the barrels, I want to fill the beans. Numbers give me a headache. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's a lot, but it's good. It's good. I don't know how accountants. Like, whenever I see an accountant now, I'm just like, mad respect, man, because that's all you do is crunch numbers, and I just couldn't do it.
Kevin.
I feel like there should be more falling down movies, like in real life. If you remember that movie, I feel like there should be more of those happening.
You don't even have to be an accountant. That could just be any job.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, we always.
It's just
Come on back. We're back.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Damn internets.
It is what it is. But I am like they were saying, I'm excited about all the stuff that you guys have coming out with this. This is a really it's a unique company because it's another way to enjoy whiskey. And the way I looked at it is, if you're gonna taste, you can taste some of the whiskey, almost kind of at least some of the flavor profile from the distillery of what you're having, and then have your coffee, and then kind of come back to it, maybe blend it together. I don't know. It all goes together. Coffee and whiskey are side by side geniuses. And I know we blend two of these together. Mike, Ben, what do you think of this? The blend of these two whiskeys.
It's ridiculously good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the blend of the two of these is nothing short of remarkable.
Yeah.
They blend very well together.
So, John, if you don't know, this is kind of a little thing we do on My Whiskey Den. Anytime we're sampling different whiskeys for somebody, we typically will blend them all together for at the end. We'll try the blend and see how that comes out. And this one's off the freaking chain.
It's really fucking good.
Patrick said it.
Sorry, we're
I'm jealous because I don't even have any to blend with. Like, I literally have absolutely zero smoked sassafras left.
Yeah, I think Christy jumped in here late. She missed. Yeah, Christy missed your announcement there where you said you finished off the smoked sassafras, so it's gone.
It's gone. Bye.
Yeah, it's gone. There's literally none left at the distillery of it. Like,
all right.
Yeah, we still have the bottle, so like she can like smell it for however long it lasts in there. But that's about as close as we're gonna get. If there's anybody listening that has a bottle of smoked sassafras out there, I'll buy it from you.
That's all I got left. And that's all I got left, and I am cherishing that baby right there.
Yeah. I just locked this thing down. I'm kind of upset I made the blend now, damn it.
I mean, the good thing about the smoked sassafras, like, it actually does make a really good root beer float, though, too. If you want just like a little bit of kick to it, like it's really good in a drink.
So, you're a big cocktail guy. What's your favorite cocktail right now?
I'd probably have to say either a paper plane or a gold rush. I love a little bit more of a citrusy cocktail. I do enjoy old fashions, but right now it's hot here in Kentucky, so I'm all about something with a little bit more citrus in it. And Gold Rush is a great one. Got a nice honey simple syrup, some lemon juice, your bourbon. But I like to add a little bit. I like to do a little bit of what I call Bloody Gold Rush. I like to do a little bit of splash of cherry juice in there. Just add a nice little bit of a twist to it.
Okay, I actually did that with making a whiskey
I've been
sour
on a big
with
port
yesterday.
wine too. Ooh, I bet that was good. Well, did you put some cherry juice in there or grenadine?
I actually added a splash of pineapple, a small splash of pineapple, and a little splash of cherry juice to it, and then shook it with some sage, and it was fantastic.
Now, and what was the other one you mentioned?
You know, I've been one of the best cocktails that an old fashioned or the Gold Rush or the paper plane. Paper planes are good too as well. One of the best cocktails though I've had recently was at Trouble Bar here in Louisville. Old Hickory Whiskey Bar did a takeover there, and one of their bartenders, I think her name was Courtney. They infused peanut butter and whiskey together, right? So they took creamy peanut butter, poured whiskey, and fused this together to make this peanut butter, and then took this jam. I think it was raspberry jam, and did what they call a smash version. I think shook it, right? And then pour it, and they topped it off with Coors Banquet. One of the best cocktails I've ever had in my life. It's dangerous because it's so good. You want to suck down 6 of them, but you know that you should not suck down 6 of these. But that was honestly one of the best cocktails I've ever had.
The problem with stuff like that is
Like I'm a huge nut though. Yes. Because it's literally like eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's like I wanted, like as I was drinking this cocktail, I wanted a bag of like Lay's potato chips. Like I wanted like to eat potato chips, taking a drink of this thing.
Man, yeah.
And now I have to go to Pensacola about another one. So.
That's no good. Let's see here.
I'm surprised you guys survived that night.
That's been one of the nights that I've really like felt my age. Like I know I'm only 34, but like like when you're like you think you still like and then you go out one night and you're just like no, don't. What are you doing? Like don't do that. Yeah. It's been a long time since I've had one of those nights.
Wait, weren't you?
And then when you're tasting whiskey the next morning, you're just like, what's that?
Weren't you just at a concert the other night?
Oh my gosh, I took my mom to ZZ Top. Her and like a bunch of her high school friends, they had like a reunion. So I scored them some tickets to ZZ Top, and I was supposed to just drop them off. And then it turned into, well, you got to come in with us. Next thing you know, I'm like their mule, right? Like I'm really like I get them also like trying to crowd like women, like my mom, like they're like all in their 60s. I'm like crowding them like together, like all right, stay in this section, nobody move, because I had to drive them all there and meet up with them and take care of them. And next thing you know, they're whistling at me to go get them beers. Like they're just calling me Jackie Son, Jackie Son. Three Miller Lights, like go, and like they would like I had to go get the cash from them, go up and get some beer, come back down, and then they would just do the cup shake. At one point, they would just look at me and just shake their empty cup, and I go get them. But it was a blast, man. It was a lot of fun seeing my mom cut loose to ZZ Top.
Oh, that's awesome.
But ZZ Top was an amazing concert. Great time watching my mom and her high school friends get down and talk about the old days. Like, you remember we were back in the Chevelle listening to this song doing like 60 miles on the Waterson? And you're just like, jeez. But yeah, it was good. It's always glad to see my mom still can cut loose and have fun. I may or may not have to help her to the car. Like, no, I got you, Mom. We're going to make it. She doesn't watch these shows, so she'll never know.
Right.
It's later on. You have to be into it for quite a while to hit up on it. That's why we wait till this time of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's she's been good. The fun thing about Mom is she's dove into this whole bourbon industry. Like I kid you not, like her collection is far superior to mine. I mean, she's out there standing in lines like 3 a.m. She's doing deals in parking lots, trading bottles, and it's unbelievable. And how stingy she is too. Like she really locks it up too. Like she has like this huge and like won't let me like come over and like sample things. It's ridiculous how much she. And she's so bougie, though. I always tell her, if you're so bougie, she used to make her cocktails, right, with Old Barton, very Old Barton, like VOB. Now, her only mixer is Weller's Special Reserve. That's her mixer for cocktails. I'm just like, oh my, like, people stand in line for this, and you mix it in your highballs. Like, it's insane, like, how far she has come.
We're going to have her on the show next.
She makes me mad. Yeah. Oh, and she cooks lunch for the distillery every day down there, too. Yeah, they got her like a $3,000 Traeger grill. She'll come in at like 6 a.m. and start smoking ribs on the back dock for lunch that day. So that's really the only reason to keep me around is because of her. They can't afford to lose me because then there goes pork tenderloin, baked potatoes. Because keep in mind, like I said, there's only like 20 to 25 of us. So she comes in, she cooks lunch.
Sounds like morale
They
would
love
just
her down there.
plummet.
Corky was very, very, very fortunate.
But hey, when mom
Right?
wants to
Yeah.
get some
I mean,
ZZ Top,
can you
we take
imagine
her
the
'cause that's
anarchy
job
that would
security.
go on out there? Exactly. Guess who got the ZZ Top tickets for my mom? Work. Right?
There you go. Right.
So, yes, ma'am, Jackie. You want to go to ZZ Top? Absolutely. Yeah. But the funny thing about the Traeger grill that we got back out there, one of the salesmen for Traeger was taking a tour, and they saw my mom putting burgers on this little pork grill out back on the dock. And they literally stopped the tour guide, like, hey, can we talk to the owner or somebody? And got Carson. They're like, we want to send you a grill to cook back here. But like, the only thing is you have to send us a video of you destroying that other grill. So, you know, we had to like put water in a barrel and like drop it on the grill to show them like us like destroying this grill. So we may see a video of that for Traeger commercial sometime soon coming out. But they were so nice and fortunate enough to like donate us the grill for us to cook lunch on at the distillery. So that was super cool.
That's
But once again, just
crazy.
you never know what you're gonna see at work. It's always a different day around there. Right?
There's no way I could have predicted that, but I would never turn anything like that down. You know what I mean? Like, this is the best day of the month, or at least 2 months.
Right.
This is fantastic. You know what I mean?
Well, the way our distillery sits, we have a back dock that we can grill and cook off, and it has like a big bay door. So imagine like sitting there like at the grain mill, right? Like making grain and smelling like pork tenderloin on the grill, just wafting in the distillery as you're sitting there working. It's like the biggest motivation ever. Just smelling lunch coming in the back door.
It almost sounds like more like
you got
torture.
mash upstairs, right? I mean, you got mash upstairs, you got the cook going, you got distillation going, and then you just have like barbecue or all that coming in the distillery as well.
So do the coffee bean barrels have to be somewhere in between the smoke and no, I'm just...
Right? It's absorbing everything. It's a science. It's a science we have created down there.
And look,
for
man,
this barrel aging process that we do.
Highwire's got this thing where they're releasing a new make that they age the corn with Benton's Country Ham. So it sounds like y'all are on to the next thing here.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about
tenderloin,
places
ribs
like
going.
what they call it.
I hear I always say, "Come on back," and it works. Come on back.
Work the magic, Patrick.
There it is. Come on back.
Well, people age. Why does that work every time he does it, though?
He's a witch.
It's not even a warlock. He's just a straight witch.
Just a witch.
Fuck off. I'm a warlock.
You're a Wisconsin witch.
There's not that doesn't sound good as a sports team.
Are you sorry? Hey, I do love some Wisconsin, though. I'll tell you what, Milwaukee, one of the best places I've ever been.
It can be a really fun time. And part of me almost thought about going down there tomorrow night, not to see the game because there's no way I get tickets, but I guess the day after the last game, if you wanted to stay on, it was $600 a night. And I was like, no way. There's no way I'm going down there to party for one night. I'm too old for that shit, man.
Not for $600, I'd sleep in my car, maybe. Like, just drive down there, sleep in my car, party, wake up, get a cup of coffee, and drive home. But, I can be pretty resourceful in those situations.
I thought about that too, and then my friend's like,
I'm not cheap, I just,
No, I don't want to spend all my fun money on the hotel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You know how much beer or whiskey, about $600? I can get like 2 pours of Stag for that, okay? Yeah.
Right.
Just kidding. Yeah.
Oh, you almost got me. You had me there for a second. I almost got the computer with that one. Okay, I had to switch away from yours because I finished off too much of them, and I have to hold on to them.
I had to make another blend. That was just golly, that was ridiculous.
I don't have it. Yeah, that was really, really good. Yeah, if you were ever to have the Cowboy and the Sassafras, Christy, maybe you could blend them together and see what happens because it is fantastic. Oof.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
She's got quite the palate too. She does. I think she does some of her own home blending and things like that.
She's quiet, but she does. I'm afraid of Christy. I'll just be.
You know, she Christy was out with us the other night. Yeah, no, Christy was out with us the other night with the Old Hickory Whiskey Bar in Trouble when we went to that bar takeover, and she had a sleep in her. She slept in her car actually. Sorry, Christy, not calling you out, but. You should believe that. Well, I know, yeah, she was hanging with the best of us that night too. She was having a good time. We even got White Castles. That's like when people come from out of town, they always request White Castles.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go to White Castles. And like, all right, well, you want to be miserable tomorrow? I'll take you there.
But do you partake once you get there?
Of course. I mean, you know, it's like absolute win. Well, like I'm going down with the ship. Like I'm not going to sit there and watch them enjoy themselves. I'm going to order a Big Red, a couple sliders. Yeah. Like, you know.
I agree. You got to go down with the ship. I like that. You know what I mean? You're along for the ride.
Yeah.
Oh. Night, Renita. Thank you for stopping in. It was good seeing you. Kevin, it's not just me. Everyone's a little nervous.
Everybody's a little. Everybody's afraid of Christy.
So, I don't know, John. I think that the project you're doing is something really exciting. We will keep people updated on the channel as things come out and as you're actually available to purchase because these experiments, I think, are going to make the morning a little bit more fun, but at the same time, maybe a little more tempting to crack into your bourbon earlier. I'm sorry. It might happen. It just might. It's going to with me. I know that I'll be like, look at this lovely flavor profile.
So no, there's a lot of people that watch.
One thing I learned during COVID is
gotta love this lag. But no, I was just saying I usually have a coffee before we start the show every time, and I know whose coffee I will be having before every show from here on out once those beans are available. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's something. I maybe we'll have a pre-coffee theme.
No,
where we come on with a Mai Tai.
There you go.
Or a Sidecar before
Manhattan.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna just have like 4 bags of Sidecar. I don't care. That's coming in.
You're gonna have a Sidecar in your Sidecar.
And so I got these little Swiss cigars that are great with a coffee in the morning. Like seriously, like I'm so excited. Fantasy football's coming up, and like one of the biggest things I freaking love is I love waking up on Sunday morning and getting a cup of coffee and a cigar and setting my lineup. Like you talk about like one of the biggest joys ever in life.
Sorry, it's a cup of coffee and a cigar. And my favorite picture as an intro. Sorry, this is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. That was literally that was me. That picture is from setting my Sunday lineup one morning, like out there in the I'm like, all right, I was getting ready to go to the championship in the fantasy league. I didn't win, but that's all right. But We all have those rituals, and that's my ritual during fantasy.
Mm. Yes,
So,
Kevin. Yeah, kind of a little bit. It's a tight picture. Sorry.
Yeah. Have you got to try any of those sticks I gave you last time you were up?
Oh, they're all gone. I don't have a single one. That little small one you gave me. What was that? I still have the wrapper. Hold on, let me grab that wrapper. That was one of my
the
favorite
Roma
ones.
Craft? Or the
I thought you may have given
we'll
him
see.
the one Mike gave Andy or something.
No, the donkey.
The donkey.
Respect Andy
That's
for
maybe
attempting that.
next time. You got to ease some people into that.
What was it? The Tattoo, the TAT. How do you say that one? It's TATUAJE.
Okay, the Tatuai, I think is how they pronounce that. I think. Don't hold me to it.
It's got 40 leaves on it. Yeah. That one was honestly one of my favorite ones. Like I've even looked up, called some people as cigar companies for me because they're so good with the latte. I drink my coffee a couple different ways. I like it black. I also like some lattes depending on what I'm having. And that with the latte is so good.
It sounds delicious. And Emily is right about this. And I am not against the coffee, cocktails, and brunch show. But I believe it should be live.
All right, maybe there's a Sunday morning coming up. We need to make this happen, guys.
Yeah.
We do brunch with My Whiskey Den, coffee and cocktails.
We'll watch Ben make his whatever he's making
Hey.
for his family. It'll be fancy.
Sure.
And Cory can kick in whatever he's making that's fancy.
We'll do coffee, cocktails, and fantasy lineup talk. We'll literally talk about who you're looking at, who you're going with this Sunday. Man, we can make a whole big thing out of it.
And cigars, and throw in the cigars because that's got to happen. So
So
all
right, broadcasting from the
that's
porch.
it, man.
We'll do Sunday mornings right.
Hell,
I think I like this.
we're getting John back on. We're doing this. Yeah.
Once football season kind of rolls around, I like this Sunday morning event. I like this.
Oh, I'm all about Sunday brunching. Like, let me brunch, go home, sleep afterwards, wake up, watch some football, eat. It's the best time of the year.
One of our guests has a legitimate question. Have you found
as opposed to what?
As opposed to all the other shit questions.
I'm having fun right now, so I'm not like
talking about you, Kevin.
I'm not. Yeah.
Shots fired, Tom Selleck. Shots fired.
Are you concerned about
that is the
coffee? Yeah, sorry. You can read.
Sorry, you should probably read the question before I answer it. Yeah, so people know.
No. If you can read it, that's fine. Everyone else can read it too. I mean, that's. Have you found the increase in coffee bean prices?
The lag. I'm so sorry.
I'm just gonna hang out here. You do your thing, John.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean it hasn't been too bad. Coffee does fluctuate. The price does fluctuate throughout. But the price isn't really what scares us. As long as the quality of the beans are there, we'll pay a little bit extra here and there. As long as it just means we don't sacrifice the quality of it. But no, it really hasn't been rough. But that is the big thing. Coffee is it's not a secure market, so the price does fluctuate time to time. But so far so good. Been good, but just gotta hope for the best in the long run. But hey, if other people can do it, I'm sure there's ways that we'll learn to navigate and make sure that we are able to get the beans that we want.
Have you found a country whose beans you prefer over the others?
I really like Costa Rican beans just because the flavor profiles that you can get out of some of theirs and just some of the the roast profiles that I've had from there. But ones that we really want are Jamaican, but they're so expensive. Like they're like $32 something a pound, depending on Jamaican coffee beans.
Oh shit!
So who knows if we'll ever actually do. Yeah, like they're really expensive. We looked into trying to get some Jamaican coffee beans, but it's literally one of the most expensive beans you can actually buy. But the Costa Rican ones, those are just some of the ones that I typically prefer, which are what we actually used in the orange curacao barrel was the Costa Rican beans.
Okay. I have a friend
But
of mine.
like I said, I'm a coffee lover, so I mean.
Go ahead, John.
No, I was just saying I'm a coffee lover, so it's really hard to say what my favorite bean is. But one of the ones I've enjoyed most has been Costa Rican.
Okay, I was gonna say I have a good friend of mine here that he's a big coffee aficionado. He roasts his own beans. Hands down, has made the best espresso I've ever had anywhere. But he's usually sourcing every year. He's kind of getting some information about which country has the best beans for that year. And so each season he's sourcing from somewhere different. So it could be Ecuador, it could be Colombia, it could be El Salvador, it just Honduras from year to year, sometimes West Africa. It just depends on what I guess the word he gets is who's having the best crop that year, what's coming out. That's where he's sourcing from. But
Yeah, I mean, no, that's 100% true because it all depends on so a lot of the beans that we've gotten have been from like independent farmers. One of the beans that we get are from fifth generation farmers from El Salvador. So I mean, yeah, a lot of it depends on what their crop season looks like too, which will depend on the price of your coffee and everything. So, like I said, the market does fluctuate, but yeah, no, that's 100% correct.
Man, I'm just impressed by what you guys had with Peerless because that's all I'm coming back to. Like those two were a good choice, Ben. You were exactly right with the two you picked. Those are both outstanding expressions. And the blend is I don't want to call it almost better because I'm sorry, the sassafras by itself. Sorry, I would check that one myself. You guys are right, and I might. If Christy has half a bottle, there might be a fight. There might be a fight or a trade. I don't know. We'll have to find something. I'm vague. I'm enthralled with that version of it. So I can only hope that you guys do something like that again, or something like that pops up because that is.
Goodbye, Patrick. It was nice knowing you.
What? Yeah. Oh, I know she carries. That's the problem. I don't know where she hides it, but she carries.
I can see the red dot on you right now.
We got a pretty good rye out right now called Lime Sherbet. That's really good. And smoked peanut brittle. We got two ryes out right now at the distillery that are fantastic.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say Ben, we have some requests for next weekend.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to be dropping in there Friday, maybe Friday. I'm heading up early, so that's
we also have a double oak bourbon along with the humidor. We have the double oak 2 out right now.
God, well, that humidor is going to be number one.
Is that you go there and you want to buy 5 bottles? It's not just one. It's like It's what I love, and at the same time is a little irritating. Is like what happened. Like I spent like $400. I don't know what happened. It was just gone.
I'm just waiting for that shot to ring out and watch Patrick slump over sideways.
I don't think I heard a word.
Oh, that's terrible. I thought that's okay.
I've seen way too many horror movies that start out like this.
Yeah. Oh, you're obviously not familiar enough with our show because Friday night is usually Patrick and the Gimp.
Hey, no, there's just a room. There's a room, and they have issues with where it is, and just this envisionment of what all happens. And I said I wouldn't come out of the room until we had like a couple, like 500 subscribers. So you're just lucky I'm not stuck in that bullshit room. Mm. Are the bottles for sale in the distillery available for sample? Yes, it is a legitimate. If Kevin starts asking questions as a legitimate question all the rest of the time, I'm going to be up.
Yep. We do tours and tasting. You know, unfortunately, everything is scheduled now just because of everything going on. So we offer 3 tours and 3 tastings a day if you're able to come in. But gosh, I mean, we've been so busy. I mean, a lot of the time it's like 3 weeks booked out, especially on the weekends for our tours and tastings right now. But the good thing is you can always go down to Justin's House of Bourbon and taste their flight that they have there. We usually try to make sure they have anything that we have at the distillery. We try to make sure they at least have something to sample there of it.
It's nice to have a place to direct people to get to try a couple samples and see what you think of it as well too, out in the environment.
Well, I know the last time we were at Bourbon's Bistro, Kevin did a flight of Peerless there too, so that's a great way to another place you can drop in and do a flight and sample some different barrels and what they're doing.
I love that place.
Yeah.
I literally go in there, you know, a couple times a week. Like it's just like I always say, like everyone wants to have that Cheers, right? That place they go to. There's nothing better than walking in there, sitting down, and somebody's like, "Oh, you wanted old fashioned oysters?" I'm like, "Yep." Like absolutely, and it's just Jason. You know, he's doing great things. The food's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Great bourbon selection over there. It's like my home away from home.
You said a couple of times a week, and part of me, like my heart sank, and the other part, like overwhelmed with joy in the thought of it. It was like that could be me someday.
I passed by there on the way home, so you know what I mean. Like when you go by there, like I'll just stop in, see who's in there real quick, and then next thing you know, it's like 3 or 4 drinks later, and it's like, oh man, I've been here way too long. But it's a great atmosphere.
Hey, I'm gonna give you a thumbs, like a double thumbs up. Anyone who can call Bourbon's Bistro and make associated with Cheers is fantastic. Like that's almost like a special emblem we're gonna give away as an award.
Right. And music just kicks in when I walk in the door and I see Mike, the bartender, Jason over hanging out. I'm like, yeah. Good to see you guys again. I'll take the usual. Yeah.
What's worse is I'm seeing it happen. Mike behind the bar, like pointing out as you come in.
Yeah.
Get him a seat. Get him a seat.
You can visualize it. Yeah, you can literally see it happening when you walk in that place. And then you walk out back, maybe have a cigar, sit by the fireplace. Like it's just it's a good place to hang out. He does a lot for the bourbon industry.
So, and you can burn some old hickory there. I was gonna say some bats, some Louisville sluggers is used as firewood. As I say, I know some people might think that's sacrilege. They didn't make it.
There's a whole room full of it, right? Closet.
Yeah. we didn't know. Kevin knew where it was personally. Right. He's like, it's over here. I'll be back. He just comes back with a bunch of bats and he starts throwing them in the fire.
It's like if you go over a friend's house, open up the door and there's skeletons on the closet. Like, God, that's a lot. It was literally like that when you open that door. It's like a backyard full of this bat graveyard out there. It was insane. How much he has firewood.
Oh, okay.
More shots fired tonight.
No, I forgot about something at this point, and everyone who is in the chat right now should at least kind of give a thumbs up or type in a number or something. Because didn't we say this is our 52nd in the evening with episode? Are we supposed to be giving something away?
Today 50. Well, yeah. Today is 50, or this one is the 52nd. You're correct.
All right.
We have 2 things to give away.
Oh my goodness. It's late. What the fuck?
Unless you're going to make one package.
No. We can do 2 things. Okay. I got a pen. Sorry, John. You know what, John? You're here. You could win this too. How about that? Let's put John in the winning 2. He's long. for the ride this evening. So we'll put you in.
My
as well.
financial advisor says I should stay away from gambling for right now, but as long as it doesn't cost me anything, I'm good.
Yeah. There's no gambling.
Yeah, no gambling.
Okay. Hey.
Hold on here. And hold on, let me bring Mike over up front here. What
Oh,
are we
God,
giving
don't do that.
away? You got all those lovely bottles in your background. What are we giving away this evening?
Got two things. I'll get really annoying in front of the microphone. First thing is an Iron Root Glencairn.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hand delivered to us by the Ginger Gods. And then the second one is a 2020 edition of Iron Root Icarus.
That's right. So
Lovely.
if you haven't already, do something here to let me know you are in the chat on YouTube. If you're sorry, I had to kill the Facebook feed. There was some weird thing going on. I will repost it over there. But you know what? The cool people all watch on YouTube. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. So thank you everyone for being over there. Let's get some names in here. We got Tim, Eli.
And yet the 52, that it is the 52nd An Evening With show.
Yes.
That's the anniversary.
Yes, that's what. So hypothetically, a year. I mean, just 52 shows. It's a nice number. Jesus Christ, did we lose John altogether? Are you there?
Oh, no, I'm here.
Okay, I was just making sure. All right, hold on here. Dave.
Did the theme music.
Yeah, I know. Someone needs to be playing that. I should have had that.
Do, 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 do.
I just like to have you on full blast here.
Yeah, well, I'll get specific. This Iron Root Icarus, it is the 20-3 edition, 48 months, 107.2 proof. Hand delivered and hand given us to us by our ginger overlords.
And that shit's just straight up one of my all-time favorite whiskeys, period.
Yeah.
Icarus? It
Yep.
is, yeah. Sorry, sometimes I get all confused as what they all have because it's all decent. So it gets me, I get a little.
It's all
confused.
decent.
Decent.
It's okay.
Hey, it's one of those things where it's like if you're gonna go to somebody, and like this evening so far with Peerless, I haven't had too much of a background. I've only had like the base releases. I could send you to them, and you're gonna be happy. Does that, that's kind of a rarity amongst whiskey profiles that no matter what I send you to and think you grab just randomly off the shelf, you're gonna be happy with. That's all. I mean, it's high praise. How about that for them and for you, John?
I appreciate it. It is fantastic. Though.
Nice.
Like, that's the sad part. When you literally see like the last bit of bottle go away, like, you know it's over. You're never gonna be able to taste that smoked sassafras again. So let that sink in. Like whatever you have left, like you're gonna have to.
John, you're like
I mean,
cutting me deep right now. Like I feel it happening. Like there's only this tiny bit. And this has to wait till the end of the year. This has to stick around till December. That's the problem. And it will, because that was I'm sorry, man. If that came out all the time, I could slam. That would be the most dangerous drink I may have ever had. Like you could just down that like
Don't worry.
Actual root beer. Sorry. It was number 4. Christy.
Number 4 gets what?
Number 4. Are you doing the glass and then the bottle?
I don't care. We could do a set. I mean, I guess you have to have a glass to taste it, so we might as well do a set.
You're a tandem. I would do it. Let's do. Christy wins the Iron Root glass and bottle set.
Okay.
4. And I have a bottle of, and it's going to be coming here soon. It's in the process. of Lost Lake from Crooked Water. How about we do one of those too? So I got one of those. Sir, you pick a number between 1 and 9. Come on. What the
Me?
fuck?
Somebody? You?
It could be John. Just hold on. It doesn't want to give me a damn number.
And that Lost Lake, our last show we had with Heather, we
fucking A, John, you just won.
Did you really?
What's
Yeah, I
that?
did. It says number 1. I was expecting. Whatever. It is what it is. Sorry.
Perfect.
Oh, I don't want to take the prize. Give it to a viewer.
Huh? Well, then everyone in the chat should thank John because I. All right, then fine.
What would I have won?
You would have won a bottle of Crooked Water's Lost Lake. You only do a
I'm
release.
just taking it back. I want that. I'm just kidding. Give it away. I'm just kidding. Give it away. Give it away.
All right.
It was pretty good whiskey.
Yeah, it was another one of those. That
Very
popped up.
good. Didn't we pop that in our bourbon of the year
For
category?
me, when I first had it, it did for sure. It was
Yeah.
one of the ones I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to set this the fuck aside like I did with that rye. And like, this goes off to the side right away.
Yeah.
Whoever wins it just needs to come visit me sometime and give me a little taste of it. And
I can make that
return
happen.
the favor by giving them some Peerless. Yeah.
There you go.
9. Numbers. It's our moderator. The moderator is who wins is Emily Chambers. So I will
Hey, the mistress.
send that to her.
There you
Mistress Emily is the winner. And as soon as Miss Mary
Way to go,
gets
Miss
that to
Chambers.
me, I will get that bottle sent on to you at that point.
Butter or bottle.
Bottle, butter. Sorry,
Bottle
I had
of
a
Maybe
butter.
you'll get butter, Emily.
Butter bottle.
It'll be butter from Wisconsin. It'll be fantastic butter.
Wisconsin butter bottle.
They literally sell butter in Wisconsin airports. Like that's how much they like cherish and love their butter. Like, you know what? This butter is so good. I want you to fly home with this stick of butter in your carry-on bag. And believe me, I've done it. I bought 7 sticks of butter and cheese at the airport to fly home in my carry-on bag.
I wasn't expecting to.
That's what I
say
love.
you
Like
did
that's what I
it.
love about Wisconsin. Like out of everything, what do they put in the airport? A cheese store.
But all right, I was gonna say, John, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your experience at Peerless, your time there, and your new exciting adventure, the one we are most excited about. Not to offend Peerless, the whiskey was fantastic. But this whole coffee experience is a new avenue for people to experience and enjoy. And if you didn't like whiskey, might be a way to pull people in. Is what we're thinking.
Exactly. Well, no,
Right.
yeah. Thank y'all for having me. Like, I appreciate y'all letting me come on here and just talk about everything and hang out with you guys. I've had a blast, and we look forward to kind of just showing people some of our different expressions and coffees that we have.
Yeah, and that will be on the brunch and fantasy football show coming in fall. So
Yeah, that's
By then, we will definitely have some Stave Bean coffee to enjoy.
I can see how this would kind of get heated. I'm kind of excited about this show. But there's going to be people that we don't even know who should probably be involved. We can hold 10 people in a chat. So I'm just saying.
We should do a 10-person league, and that should be who gets together every morning on Sundays is everyone in the league.
I like this.
Yeah.
And we might even give a couple spots out to some fans, because what's better than bringing a fan into the exciting world of fantasy football and coffee and whiskey and brunch.
Absolutely.
Fuck, it doesn't get better than that. So
no, I'm in.
Yep.
All right. So thank you for being on, and we really, really appreciate you coming on and spending your time and your evening with us.
Let's get into it.
Jesus, that thing, hot finger, man. Did you see that? Hot finger, that thing just went off. Thank everyone in the chat for being with us this evening. It was really great. I hope you got to see what's going to be coming out from Stave Bean It's going to be exciting, and yes, it's going to be worth waiting for. If you have to, ask a mule. There'll be mules going there. Like, just, text Ben. Motherfuckers going there like every couple weekends. Make them do some work. So, cheers, everyone out there. Remember, it's not the size of the den. It's the love of whiskey.
Cheers.
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 Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.